Hello there, welcome to Target Radio Podcasts. Yes, we have a podcast for your ears. Every week here on the show, on our live shows that is, we try and get an interesting persons, artists, band members, music, poets, film playwrights. We even get, we'll try and get everyone. We'll try and get everyone that's interested in our genre of music that we portray here on Target Radio. So what we do is sit them down, we have a telephone interview, sometimes a live interview, and we discuss all things in their profession. So stay tuned here. This one is an absolute blast. You're going to love this, and I'll be back at the end to obviously tell you what's coming up in the very near future. I am the pod father. I will now tell you that this is Target Radio Podcasts. Don't forget to check us out on iTunes, and if you think we deserve it, don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating. That would be rather nice. Thank you very much indeed. So over to me. Sit tight and enjoy. This is Target Radio. 5
Sunday,
4
Sunday,
3
Sunday night,
2
in his Sunday best.
1
Sunday,
go. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Dear God in heaven, please let this show go okay, with no major boobs or goofs, or is it goofs? Please don't let me tread all over the intros of records, or say a naughty word.
So let's have fun.
Hello, and welcome to the show. Hello, and welcome to the show.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
First we take a groovy record, then we add a super sound DJ.
Oh, Sean Kirk.
The big DJ. The big DJ.
When do I get my badge?
And a very good evening. Welcome. Target Radio here. And it's nice to have your company here on a... where are we? Is it it's Sunday? Of course it is. Anyway, we've got Billy Liberator on a bit later on this evening. Around about 7:30. We've got some great music for you as well. Great lineup this evening. Oh, you want to know what they are? Okay, then we've got some Dr. Bird, Manny Pezzaroli. We got something from the Kinks, The Jam, Dr. Bird. And that's just for starters. And of course, we're going to play a couple of tunes from Billy Liberator. Or Paul Huggett, if you know him personally. Either way, we're going to be putting the world to rights tonight, I believe. Looking at his recent post from Paul, or Billy, I'm confused already. Think about it. I'm confused now. What's it going to be like at 7:30 this evening? It's all going to go completely, up. Yes, those. Anyway, nice to have your company here. Now that is really good. I'm not just saying it because the next guest I'm going to have on here in a few moments' time is the man behind this. Come on, that really is good. That is Billy Liberator. and due south. I think we all need to head due south if the weather's going to be as bad as that. I really do like that. Okay, shall we do it? I say this each and every week. What happens if he doesn't pick up? I mean, what happens if he's not even there? Perhaps he's gone out. Social distancing, of course. Perhaps he's social distancing, taking his dog for a walk. Oh, hang on, Cookie. Let's press the button and see what happens. I mean, it could ring. Well, it is ringing.
Sean, how you doing?
There he is. It's Paul Huggett, or a.k.a. Billy Liberator. How you doing, my friend?
I'm very good.
Good.
Very good, mate.
Okay, I'm not bad. Hang on a minute. You need one of these. I've got the crowd in. They're all social distanced. And they're all wearing face masks, so it sounds a bit muffled this evening. How are you, Paul? You all right?
I'm very well. I'm very good. Yeah, I'm sat up here, upstairs, bit of peace and quiet. You're quite faint, actually, at the moment, so I'm just trying to fiddle with my device and work out.
Well, I've never been faint before. I've never been accused of that anyway. So, do you know, I think I need one of these then. Hang on. That's enough. Right, okay. So, Billy Liberator or Paul Huggett, which one do you prefer tonight?
They're interchangeable, Sean. You can call me whatever you like.
Okay. Well, we're on the radio, so we'll keep it clean. Oh, fantastic.
Kids often call me Billy as a bit of a, because they're in the wind-up.
Well, I can see Paul on my little screen there, so what I'm going to do, there we go, get rid of that, and then we're going to call you Billy all evening. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Excellent, lovely. I'm just going to turn you up a little bit as well, because you are a little bit on the quiet side there, so hopefully I'm not echoey too much there. Oh, I am a little bit. Right, okay, bring myself down a bit. Right, there we go. So, Billy Liberator, all the way from Woking, where I was just a stone's throw away earlier this year. Now I've moved up to the sort of northeast, but not that quite high up, sort of all East Midlandsy. All right, it's Lincolnshire, great place for mountaineering apparently. So, how is Woking these days?
Woking is in the throes of change.
Yeah.
If you were here earlier in the year, we've got towers going up, 30 stories or so.
Wow.
And also the virus thing has sort of hit the shops pretty hard, so we got a lot of closures.
Yeah, of course.
But it's,
yeah.
I mean, it's a busy town, as you know, Sean. And,
yeah.
It never really sort of sits still. It just it's constantly trying to reinvent itself.
Bit like one of the residents that just lives around the corner, one Mr. Paul Weller. Always on a reinvention.
Yeah, you
yes.
don't get into music in Woking and not be aware of Mr. Weller and Mr. Foxton and Mr. Butler.
That's it. The other two as well. We'll give them a Mister behind it rather than first names. And have you met any of the Jam that we just mentioned there?
Well, actually, I actually used to for a short period. I was Bruce Foxton's gardener. Would you believe?
Oh my goodness me!
Do you want to hear this story?
Yeah, I do. Come on, we all want to hear this story. I want to hear how you dug up his pansies. Come on.
It would have been around 1982. I would have been 11, 12 years old.
Okay.
And it was sort of recession time. My father, who's a metal fabricator, was a wee bit short of work, and so he was trying to find Saturday jobs to keep himself occupied and earn a bit more money.
Yep.
And he answered a random postcard in the post office just at the top of the road where we lived, and we ended up working for Bruce Foxton on a Saturday morning for about a year and a half.
Oh, that is fantastic. And what sort of work did you do for him? And obviously gardening's quite a broad thing, so what sort of things did you do for Bruce?
I think it was basically digging up a lot of weed, Sean. There wasn't a lot of creativity to it, as I remember. Bruce didn't do a lot. I mean, it was a tough time for Bruce because, I mean, I was quite young, but my recollection of it was that it was the end of the Jam and the beginning of him. I think initially he did put out a solo record.
Yes. And
my sort of recollection was him sort of working on tunes in the living room whilst we were putting forks in the ground, if you know what I mean. So I've met Bruce. I actually met Rick Butler down in Brighton last year. Actually, there was a band that were knocking around in the '80s, a band called Hard Rain, who opened for the Alarm once or twice, and they came over to do a gig in Brighton, and lo and behold, there was Rick Butler. So we have a nice natter with him.
Yeah.
So never met Paul though.
No, you and I both. I mean, obviously, I've spoken to his sister a couple of times now, and she's absolutely brilliant. And whilst I'm mentioning that, I've just got to quickly mention about our bidding for the Jam, all about the Young Idea poster signed by Paul Weller. It's up for £200 at the moment. Are you going to top £200? You've got until 5 to 9 this evening, ladies and gentlemen. So get over to Target Radio live page for presenters. Apparently, that's me, and listeners, which is you. So get over there and put your bids in. And it's an early Christmas present, so I'll get that out as soon as the money is transferred over to the well-worth charity called Nordoff Robbins. Enough of that now. Right, we are speaking with Billy Liberator, and I've just heard a track there called Due South. Now, I like that. Out of all of them that you've sent me, I've got to tell you now, that one's such a catchy little number. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll go backwards then, if you don't mind, and see how you got into music. But that tune that I've just played, tell us a bit about it. What's it about?
Well, I mean, Juice Out. Well, Smiley's, first of all, Smiley's going to kill me because that's not finished. if he's listening right now, I'm really sorry, Smiles. That's. I mean, it's virtually there. We've got a bit more work to do on that. When, in fact, we would have been working on it this weekend had the national lockdown not taken place. So I'll be back with him next month. Due South is it's a couple of years old. It's basically about a long walk that I undertook because hiking is my other passion.
Okay.
I was in Scotland for 4.5 weeks. I walked from John O'Groats across the top of Scotland and down through the Highlands. And basically, I miss my wife. That is in a nutshell what Due South is about. And it was a bit of a ballad. It was a bit of a slow song.
Yeah.
But when I took it to Smiley, as Smiley does, he sprinkled magic smiley dust over it. And that's the result.
And he's got an abundance of that as well, which we found out.
Sure has.
I found out a few weeks ago when I spoke to him. He never.
It was great, wasn't it? Great interview.
I tell you what, though. I mean, obviously about the interview and everything. What you find out about Steve is he's such a perfectionist. He won't leave it alone. You know, as a lot of engineers, producers, and musicians, I think, right, okay, that's not bad. Actually, I quite like that. No, Steve will take another couple of hours, and he will just, like you say, sprinkle some more magic smiley dust on it, and just create something really, really special. And like you say, that's not finished yet, and I don't know if it should be touched, but if it's going to be touched by anyone, then Steve is your man for it.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, Smiles, he's fantastic in the studio, and he works fast, and I like that. I like the sort of efficiency in the studio. He's got ideas more or less straight away, and he just wants to crack on with them and get things nailed. I mean, if you listen, I know you've listened to the album, the Greatest Hits album, that Smiley put out this month, and he didn't just sort of re-release all those sort of tunes from the last sort of 5-6 albums. He went back and revisited some of them, and I think it sounds great. I've been listening to it all week actually, in van at work, and it's a great album, great tunes.
Absolutely, and what we're mentioning of is there Smiley's Best of Friends, which is currently out, and you can get that quite easily if you gatecrashtheparty.com, I think it is, off the top of my head. I will check that out and let you know, but it's a great album, and it's full of twists and turns on it as well, so looking forward, obviously if you haven't got it yet, you really would be looking forward to a great evening's worth of music there, after you finish with Target Radio, of course. And yourself, obviously with music itself, that Due South, I mean, obviously it's a personal thing for you, obviously with your hiking and everything, and I like that. It's sort of a storytelling at a fast pace. It's really good. Now,
yeah, I mean, storytelling, I mean, it's a big deal to me. I mean, lyrics are a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And I love a song that tells a story. I love a song that can transport you to a place or a time. I mean, one of my heroes is Tom Petty, who was a master at it.
Definitely, yeah.
She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus and America too. Probably no more than about 12 words. Yeah. But you're there. He's got you in a place, and it's just such a gift to be able to, in a few short words, without being too wordy, without being cliche, to be able to sort of, take people to a certain place or a point in time. And it's that's kind of what I'm gunning for. I guess, with sort of songwriting.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. And, to quote another really good living legend at the moment is obviously Ray Davies, again, a really good writer when it comes to storytelling in his songs. And I do love a good story within a song. Sometimes it takes you on a journey which you really don't know. You don't expect it to say this or go there or do this, So it's really, really a unique way of putting a story into words, and then obviously, trying to make them all rhyme and putting music with it as well. It's absolutely, it blows my mind. I say this to everyone. I'm going to ask you the same question that I pretty much ask every single musician is. The first question, obviously, is just go right back, way back into time, okay? Get into your time capsule. Whoop, there we are. Right, okay, so if you were going to put a date on you as a budding musician, what date are we going back to when you first started getting into music?
Well, I mean, I think my parents bought me a guitar for Christmas. I think when
Fantastic.
I was about 11 or 12, and was absolutely gutted. I was hugely disappointed because my brother got some fantastic Action Man Jeep. And that's basically what I wanted.
Oh, that is brilliant.
However, 6 months later, I was sort of completely hooked.
Yeah.
And all the way through my teens, I was playing in bands, and there were one or two in particular that sort of stuck around for a little while.
Yeah.
And actually, Mike, the bass player in the band that I play with at the moment, the Orbiteers, he's been in every band that I've played in since I was 15.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, thank you, Mum and Dad.
There we go.
The Action Man Jeep, things might have turned out really differently.
Absolutely. So if you've got an Action Man Jeep, I wouldn't be talking to you today, and there wouldn't be some fine music coming out of Woking from yourself. So just think about that now. I mean, obviously everything has a reason, and obviously the reason was that they discovered, even before you did, that you had a hidden talent that they could see, because parents are really good at that, ladies and gentlemen. They can see in their children hidden talents. And there we go. We've got Billy Liberator with us today, and they saw a hidden talent into you. So how long have you been sort of playing the guitar now? We're going to try and work out how old you are.
Well, that's right. I'm 49. I've been playing guitar since I was 12.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't consider myself a particularly great guitarist. Songwriting is pretty much in the last, for many years has been my thing.
Yeah.
And there are guitarists that I've played with that I and particularly Jakey, who plays in the Orbiteers.
Mm-hmm.
I can hope, and I won't even try to emulate their skills. I know that my skill set lies somewhere else.
Indeed.
I would have liked to have been a lead guitarist maybe when I was 15, 16, but you gravitate towards what you're good at, don't you?
I think so, yeah. I mean, obviously, keen singer-songwriter yourself, I mean, that itself is a very, very important skill, because obviously without people like your good self that can obviously sing and most importantly, songwrite, then you've got a band up there pretty much doing nothing because they can't sing to something that you haven't written yet. So you are very much in the most important part of the band, if not the important part of the band, as in coming to the table with some goods on offer, i.e. the words to the song that they're playing to. So, equally you are very, very important. It's not all about leading at the front, it's sort of leading behind on the sides or at the back even, So every person in a band, whether you're a drummer, a saxophonist, or a bass player, or indeed a lead guitarist, or whatever you are in a band, you're part of a gang, you're part of a group that obviously you've got your skill set there. So no, indeed. When you're writing music and everything, how does it come about? I mean, again, this is a question I generally ask pretty much most of my guests, because I'm in awe of people that can put words together, make them rhyme, put them into a song, and they mean something. Sometimes I speak to musicians and, for instance, this is not my car, but apparently it is. But why do people write about sort of like the reverse psychology thing? And that's one question. The other question is, how do you write? Obviously with a pen or a pencil.
Sure.
But how does it come about? So a couple of questions there for you.
I think, for me, I was really interested in you posed that question to Smiley a couple of weeks ago.
Indeed.
And Chris Pope, and I'm really interested to hear what others have to say.
Yeah.
I've heard Noel Gallagher, in the past, talk about, half an hour, and I had, roll with it, backed on a middle 8, and there we go. That is not how it is for me. I mean, the genesis of an idea might be in a nice chord structure, or it might be in a turn of phrase that I hear someone say, a few words, and I've generally, I've got my phone on me all the time. I'm constantly sort of just jotting something down, because if I don't do it immediately, then it's just not going to lodge in my little brain for much longer than a minute and a half.
Indeed. So,
and then, I mean, for me, songwriting is quite a long process. I'll take the sort of genesis of that idea and then just try and sort of flesh it out with words. And I'm constantly coming back to words, Sean. I mean, I've just literally this weekend just finished something which I've sort of presented to the band. And I've probably revised those lyrics. I mean, I've lost count how many times I've sort of gone over those lyrics because I don't quite like the sound. What Smiley had to say about syllables was really cool, actually, because it's really true. There might be words that make sense, but actually you're not writing an essay. You're not even writing a poem. You're writing a song that you hope you want people to enjoy, to sing along to move to. And ultimately, I try not to forget that, because there is a danger possibly with me, particularly because I tend to sort of write about stuff that's sort of personal to me. If I get over wordy, I'm just going to lose people.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously that as well. I mean, obviously you don't want to sort of like become sort of like a wordsmith where, you're writing, War and Peace into a piece of music.
Exactly.
And then you're finding yourself that the songs are, 22 minutes long, so you're going to have to cut it down. You're going to have to take some sentences out, some wording out, or possibly even a whole paragraph of words to make it flow better, I suppose, to keep it sort of like in that sort of 3-stroke, 4, and possibly even 5 minute sort of a song to keep everyone entertained, on their toes. And obviously when it becomes a story, you want a beginning, middle, and of course an end, unless there's a part 2 on the horizon. Then obviously you could leave it sort of open a little bit for interpretation, I suppose.
Sure. And I mean, interpretation is certainly, some of the best songs that or the songs that I like, they don't necessarily sort of deliver it all to you want to play. You don't necessarily know exactly what the writer's getting at. Sometimes the audience, and this is something I really like, have to do a bit of work as well.
Yes,
so,
make them think.
Trying to avoid cliches, trying to avoid anything that's too obvious, because I want to present something that that gives people not gives people a challenge. I don't mean it that way, but it's just interesting, I guess.
Indeed. Now, I've just gone onto your music page, which, ladies and gentlemen, is called Billy Liberator Music. And you've got a disused, or should we say, a burnt-out fire pit there for your sort of profile picture. And it would have been nice if you had a little fire going there, but never mind. You've got a keyboardist, a couple of guitarists, and obviously, of course, the drummer there as well. Is that your band?
That's the band. That's the Auditeers. Yeah.
There we go. Let's move from. Let's go from the keyboard player then, if we can, there, Billy, and let's do some name and shaming, if we may, please.
Okay.
So, keyboard player is
Al Zarth from Australia.
Good day, mate. There we go. That's all I'm going to say there, because I really will embarrass him, but more importantly, I'll embarrass myself. So my Australian's not very good, mate. You know what I mean? Right, okay. And then we've got a very happy-go-lucky, shirt down to the navel almost, playing an acoustic guitar. Who would that be?
That would be my good self.
I thought it was. You look very happy there. And then obviously to your left, you've got another guitarist there on the electric, I believe. And who is that?
So Jake, our guitarist, is that's Jakey Miller, who I've already alluded to. He's a fantastic guitarist, and he's a really good friend. And I'm just so pleased he's. We get to play with it. I mean, it's been a quiet year for us, but yes. It's great to have him in the band. He's fantastic.
And then on a very small but equally looking professionally, anyway, drum kit we've got
the mighty Mr. Andy Lodge, who might be listening tonight. He said he would be. So if you're there, Andy, hello mate, how you doing?
Hello.
Yeah. So Andy came through. I didn't know Andy 4 years ago. He was a friend of Jake's, the guitarist's, and. Andy's great. He's a really solid drummer, and he really takes an interest in the songs, and really takes it. He buys into the songs, which is great for me.
Absolutely. And I've just noticed here, then obviously we've got a man with very limited hair. We could say he's balding, or is that a style
No,
that
that
he's
is
chosen?
Jakey, actually. That's Jakey.
You got him
Sorry,
wrong.
I must have got them mixed up. So,
got
yeah,
him.
Jakey's a guitarist.
Gotcha.
And then the guy who was sat to my left, actually, if it's the photo that I'm thinking of, is Mike Mitch, the bass player who has been in every band that I've played in since I was 15. So we go back quite a long way, me and Mitch.
There we go. Now, is that a 6-string bass, or is that just a lead guitar, or he's got hold of it?
I think he's playing his 5-string bass there that he had built in America and shipped over. And Mike, I'll tell you a story about Mitch.
You actually are right. Yeah, it's definitely 5 strings there. I've just expanded it and counted the strings. Wow, how sad I am. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, when we were kids and we just had no money for instruments or anything, he bought a very cheap replica Fender Precision bass, and then somehow managed to lift a Fender decal from a magazine, or I can't remember where from, and sort of stuck it on the headstock of his cheapy copy bass. He got away with it for years, and we thought he had this really great but slightly knackered Fender Precision bass. And it was a complete imposter. He was very proud of it.
But obviously his bass playing isn't. That sounds like...
He's great. Mike's really solid, and he's got a great musicality. Great ear, brilliant.
Oh, that's what we want to hear. And now, I'm going to really, really, really put him under the bus here. Are all bass players miserable when they play?
Mike's actually a really cheerful guy.
That's good.
Yeah, in fact, we're all cheerful.
You do look very happy there with the obviously the fire pit that's gone out. But yeah, he's even got a smile on his face, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I mean, obviously the cliche of all bass players are miserable people but very good bass players is obviously a fallacy. It's not true. It's just me making things up. Okay, so I just want to get that point out there. It's just that when I mention it to band members and things like that, I think bass players can be quite serious when they're doing what they do on a bass guitar, because it is quite a hard instrument, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think that bass players are, as a rule, they're underrated. Rhythm sections are underrated. The singers and the guitarists sort of get to be the stars. But
yeah.
Actually, Mike and Andy are rock solid together, and I can think of bands that I've gone to see that I'm a fan of, where the rhythm section has been, you think of people like Mick Fleetwood, John McVie. May not be everybody's cup of tea, but they have got something there, decades and decades of grooving together, and it's rock solid.
Absolutely. And I mean, obviously, another cliche or an analogy is, it's the engine room of any band. You won't have a band unless you've got a decent drummer and a decent bass player to hold everything together and to keep time and to make sure that, obviously, as you say, the stars of the rest of the band, obviously the lead guitarist and singer and everything else, are keeping in time. So it's down to these guys to make sure that the do is in time, and all together. I mean, obviously you're all stars in your own particular field. I'd like to get that point across, ladies and gentlemen, because sometimes, like you say, the drummer's sort of shoved at the back because obviously generally he's the noisiest on stage anyway, and they usually shove him at the back. But sometimes I've seen drummers being brought forward. So when it comes to sort of like your engine room, I do believe that they're an integral part of any band. So they should get an applause every single time. Hang on, I think I have one here for them. There is. So, I love that bun. I really love that bun. So let's find out a little bit more about the band itself. So you're an upbeat acoustic tunes in a folkish vein with punk, new wave and pop influences. So let's go back on that. So we've got...
I don't know who wrote that. It could have been me.
I think it probably was, actually. A folkish vein. So obviously I can see the folkish sort of like thing there. So obviously I suppose you're sort of like... your roots are sort of like based on the folk side of things.
I mean, it's so difficult, isn't it, talking about genres, because there's so many different things that I sort of listen to.
Oh, for goodness sake, yeah, absolutely.
Sort of say an influence, but I mean, certainly in my formative years, early years, the big bands for me were the Alarm and U2, but particularly the Alarm. And the alarm, as I'm sure you know, Sean, for the first sort of 2-3 years, it was predominantly acoustic instruments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Amped up to 11. And it was just such a revelation, It was just this fantastic noise coming out of these speakers at places like the national the ballroom in Kilburn and other places that we went to, and I think that has sort of stuck with me really. And Mike Peters of the Alarm, it's still on the records. There would still be an acoustic underpinning of what essentially is a rock record.
Yes, yeah.
And I love that.
And yeah, I mean, like they say, like, blues, folk is sort of like the fundamental sort of foundations of any song. And I really do have a sort of like, shall we say, a lean towards that quite a lot. I hear a lot of new music, and I feel that a lot of it has sort of spurned from there, whether it's sort of like bluesy or got that sort of folky sound to it. Then obviously you've got your layers with obviously other instruments like your lead guitar, bass guitar, and obviously then your drummers and then keyboard players, etc. And they've gone as far as putting brass sections in and things like that. Have you ever thought about sort of putting a brass section into yours?
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to. Yeah. I mean, there was a great band in the 80s. Sorry to harp on about the 80s. It was a band called the Faith Brothers, who I saw a couple of times, and they had brass live and on record, and it was just brilliant. It was just brilliant. Unfortunately, I don't know anybody.
There you go. So
who knows?
If you're a trumpet or a saxophonist and a trumpet, if you're a trumpet player even, if you are a trumpet, then you need help. But if you are a trumpet player or a saxophonist, I don't know what a trumpet player is called, I suppose a trumpet player. But if you are any of those and you feel like, you could contribute towards them, get in touch with us here at Target Radio and I'll obviously pass your details over. You mentioned the Faith Brothers there. I've just Googled them actually, just wanted to see a little bit more about them. And they are a brand of rock spiced with the old soul, as you quite rightly said there, and they've got a little bit of everything going on there, so very similar to what you've got going on with your own band as well, which is good. You mentioned punk on this and new wave as well, so what's your sort of main influence from that sort of side of the fence, can I ask, please?
I much the same as Smiley, actually. I've heard Smiley say this, and I think he says it in his book. I probably missed out on punk by about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I was too young. But certainly, sort of, as I was sort of becoming musically aware, if you like, and listening to records, bands like The Clash and the Buzzcocks, I got into them after their time. But, they're still great bands.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, absolutely.
The first band I formed, or we formed, I should say, we called ourselves Public Warning, and we possibly took ourselves a little bit too seriously. Yeah. But the Clash, the Clash sound was certainly sort of an influence on us. What we sort of, this is not to cast aspersions on the Clash, but what we lacked in musical ability, we certainly made up for with enthusiasm.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, definitely. I love the Clash. I love the, obviously the again the songwriting skills there from one Mr. Late Great John Strummer. He was absolutely fantastic. The worm with the yellowy eyes. I mean, what's that all about? But it's fantastic. They're just great lyrics. Again, so every great song has to have great lyrics. And going back to your Due South, I mean, it's really, really good. It flows so nicely, and like I said, it's not even finished yet. For goodness sake, so we're going back to that, and it's brilliant. So obviously mentioned punk, and obviously at the end of punk was sort of like the post-punk, which is new wave, which is your Blondies, possibly some people say the Jam. I suppose the early Jam was a little bit punky, a little bit new wavy as such, but obviously followed by many mods of the next generation of mods anyway, from the sort of late 70s, early 80s. For yourself, I mean, favourite Jam record? What's that?
Setting Suns.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, great album. 41 years last week.
Is that right?
41 years.
Yeah, I mean, again, I sort of, I only really sort of caught the very tail end of it. I mean, I can distinctly remember. I mean, I mentioned that my dad had got this gardening job, and I used to go along and give him a hand.
Yeah.
I can remember people in the village kind of cottoning on to the fact that, he was working for Bruce Foxton, and it seemed like every Saturday he was getting another copy of A Town Called Malice thrust into his hand and being begged for Bruce to sign it, which he didn't particularly like. He felt it was sort of he was sort of abusing his position a little bit as a gardener.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, it was sort of the tail end. So again, with the Jam, I cottoned onto that really sort of after the sell-by date, sadly. But the sort of new kind of the bands that I was listening to were, as I say, The Alarm and U2, Magazine a little bit, Blondie, as you say. And then sort of leaping a bit further forward into the sort of mid to late 80s, there were some great bands. Cactus World News were a band I really liked from Dublin. Struggling to think now. REM, the American bands, REM.
Yeah. I mean, REM, I was shocked when they actually said, that's it, we're calling it a day. And I thought, I wasn't a particular sort of a huge fan of REM, but I did like a few of their tracks, very good tracks, very well thought out lyrics and great music with REM. I wasn't a huge fan of them, but I was quite, I wouldn't say upset to the point of I was crying into a Kleenex, and there are other tissues out there, ladies and gentlemen, that you can use. But, I was sort of like shocked more than sad. They were calling it a day after a really successful career, I thought anyway. But needless to say, they all do it.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly I was surprised they threw in the towel when they did. I thought, I mean, clearly when Bill Berry went, it had a big effect on them. And I can remember Michael Stipe being quoted as saying, a three-legged dog is still a dog, he just has to learn to run differently, which is a great quote.
That is a great metaphor as well, isn't it? Hey, come on, I like that. That is great. Give it over to the bionic vet or whatever he calls himself. He'll probably put a new leg on him. There you go.
Steve Austin.
Yeah, well, that bloke as well, yeah. I don't think Steve Austin was actually real. But no, who's the vet over in Surrey way? The Irish fella, the bionic vet, I think they call him, or something like that. He attaches limbs on animals and stuff, and he's really, really quite good. Anyway, we're getting off the subject there about music. I don't know where that come from. All right, okay. There we go. Clear my throat and got back on track. And so we've got new wave. We've obviously pop influences as well. Is that the sort of light-hearted side of music for you then, pop?
I think. I mean, I suppose in recent years, I don't want to sort of downplay pop. It's my kids would tell me off if they thought I was being musically snobby. Well, they would, and certainly my son would sort of say, you've got to, and they would be right to.
Of course,
there are some great bands, I think, knocking around right now that you might sort of kind of lump in the kind of indie pop kind of genre. This is the trouble with labels, isn't it? Is that ultimately a great song is a great song.
Absolutely.
It's sort of in fashion or out of fashion, it's a great song.
I mean,
I was listening to Catfish and the Bottles this morning. And
they're good. I like them.
Fine sounds in there.
Yeah, they are quite good actually. Again, not my cup of tea, but again, sometimes a good song, it doesn't matter who's done it. It's still a good song, a bit like your three-legged dog scenario. It's still a good song. And I mean, I like an Ed Sheeran song. I can't even think of the name of it off the top of my head now. But again, a really good lyricist. He really does know how to pen a song together, So again, hats off to Ed Sheeran. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's not supposed to be, is he?
No, and I mean, I think, what is he? He's the only solo guy to sell out Wembley Stadium. Well, you don't get to that position by having clever publicists. Clever publicists come into it.
That's all raw talent, isn't it? Let's be fair.
You've got to have some talent.
Absolutely. I think he's got a little bit. Yeah, he's got a little bit there anyway. So anyway, language and metaphor illuminate real life experiences with such melody and hook as 3.5 minutes will allow. I love that. That is a great info about obviously yourselves there. It's brilliant. I love the little get everything squeezed into a 3.5 minute song. Are any of your songs 3.5 minutes, or are they all over?
Actually, I mean, I suppose I'm always worried that I'm going to bore people, and so kind of there are a lot of songs that are 3.5, 4 minutes. Certainly on the EP, Smiley and I sort of kept pretty much. I think Your Heart Wears It Well is over 4 minutes, but the other three come in at about 3:40.
Yes, indeed.
I present someone else staying welcome. If I've said what I want to say, then and I'm not a good enough soloist to put any solos in if I'm on my own. But, so yeah, I mean they are very much on the EP. They are songs with wonderful textures and amazing bits that frankly a lot of it is down to Smiley. I think he said to me last time I was in the studio. He said to me something like, "Look, you draw the drawing, and I'll colour it in." And there is a lot of that. Smiley will hear things that I just haven't picked up on. So what about this? He's a great producer. He's not just a great drummer. I mean, he is a great drummer. Anyone that's seen Smiley live know just how good he is.
Oh, he's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, there's no shadow about it. I mean, it's not bad. The whole singing as well. I was really surprised on the Best of Friends album that he sings on all of them. And what a great voice he's got as well. I really didn't realise how good a singer he really is until obviously I got the album, listened to the album, and I went, "Did you sing on all of them?" He went, "Yeah." This is obviously before we went live. And I went, "Mate, I'll tell you now, that is absolutely some really good stuff there." And he goes, "Well, thanks very much." He was taken aback by just a simple comment like that. And he was really humbled in his, his reply. And I found that to be so down to earth. And that's how I find Steve all the time. When I first met him, in the flesh, remember those days when you could actually go and meet people?
Way back when.
Yeah, way back when. And we're going to get onto that in a second. But when I first met Steve, he'd lost something from one of his speakers, and I said, "Oh, I've got one of them, but I haven't got it on me either. I keep losing mine." And we just had a laugh. It was like a locking pin for one of his tripods. He goes, "I'll be back in a minute." And I said, "If it all fails, use a beer mat." And he just laughed because he is such a down-to-earth fella. And, obviously he's got such a history with some really great bands, as I said, The Alarm, for instance. And obviously he's worked on so many projects. It's unbelievable. The man is always in his studio. I think he lives in there, actually. He's got a great relationship with his wife. He never sees her.
He does. I mean, he does incredibly well.
He does, yeah.
He was away with The Alarm for about 2.5 months in the States, and then straight off the back of that, he was away with Archive for absolutely ages. And I said to him, I said, how do you manage that? Because frankly, I sort of, if I had the same scenario here at home, I think it would be, I would find it tough. I'd find it tough to be away from home for that length of time, for sure.
Absolutely, definitely. But I mean, obviously, he's got a really lovely wife, and she's so understanding. Obviously, she knows what he does for a living. I think they knew before. Obviously, they got wed and everything, and she just is a really good, understanding wife. So obviously, hats off to him, and obviously to his lovely wife as well. And moving away from Steve for a second, then, and obviously just talking about lockdown now, because obviously we are going to try and put the world to rights according to your little paragraph. I read it. Yes, I saw it come up. Yep. So we've got to put the world to rights. But before we do that, and obviously come up with some great suggestions, maybe for Christmas, and what we can and what we can't do before Boris gets in there and totally wrecks that as well. Obviously, as a musician, and I've asked this for a few weeks now to different musicians. I mean, obviously, gigging is your sort of, I'm going to say bread and butter to a point. But obviously, I suppose it's how you sort of trial new music and how you trial, new material on people, i.e., in pubs and clubs and things like that. So how's that really affected you as a band and as you as a person?
Well, I think, for me, the straight answer is that with new songs, it's open mics all the way for me. Because it's me and the acoustic initially when a song's been penned. Yeah. What I like to do is get down the Fiery Bird in Woking, which is a new independent venue that's only really been open for a couple of years.
Yes, indeed.
I've got to give a name check to Elaine McGinty.
I know Elaine very well. Yeah, I know Elaine. We've crossed paths.
I know you do. I know.
Yeah, we crossed paths on a different radio station many years ago where we both worked.
I did read that.
Yes, that was a while ago. It seems like another lifetime. But she's a lovely lady, and she's got such a passion for sort of like the local bands in and artists as well. Obviously, your solo artists. But it's a great venue. I've never actually got the chance to go there before. Obviously, I left the sort of Woking area and moved up here where I am now in Lincolnshire. But what I've heard is all good, all positivity. But again, obviously, for COVID hitting, these places unfortunately had to close down on a temporary basis, open up and then close down again. Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Up and down, isn't it? Up and down. So obviously your venues are very limited at the moment. In fact, there's none.
Yeah, I mean, we, the Orbiteers, we have I think it's probably going to become a sort of a yearly fixture, almost like a sort of, I don't know, you almost call it like a homecoming gig where we book out the Star in Guildford. Now, we were due to do that in May. Last year's one was absolutely ace, really, really good fun.
Yeah.
Great gig. And, it's those sort of shows that, and particularly as we've got more songs now, that we've sort of rehearsed up over the winter, and Andy, our drummer, he will work hard on not just his drum pad or whatever, but he will sort of produce sort of MP3s at home.
Yeah.
Sort of work to. So yeah, really looking forward to. Well, I'm looking forward to everything. I'm looking forward to the open mics, to solo gigs, to band gigs. It's been tough, and also I have to say it's been tough not being able to go to gigs as a band.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously it's got to be difficult. I mean, obviously as a sort of shall we say, an untrained ear when it comes to great music, I'm missing the live venues. I mean, I'm missing, meeting up with people, friends, colleagues, etc. And I'm missing the live music performance as well. And I know during the summer when, the venues were allowed to sort of like, shall we say, partially open for business.
Yeah.
And we're having sort of social distancing gigs. I mean, for goodness sake, even me saying it makes me feel a bit queasy. But, where it's all sit down table service, and if you want to go to the toilet, you've got to put your hand up or text someone or ring a bell, whatever the case may be. It's all very regimented, and obviously I understand that with COVID and everything and keeping your 2 metre distance. But, did you play in that sort of period of time when we came out of lockdown before we went into lockdown again? Did you play at all?
I think not in a venue. I mean, that was the whole fire pit section, really. I mean, that's basically my back garden. We just realised that we could. I'd done a few Facebook Lives on my own,
yeah,
sort of in the initial lockdown, and then we kind of got talking as a band and realised that if it stayed dry, and if I had a long enough internet cable,
that's the one.
We could do it in the back garden, and we'll probably, to be honest, if gigs remain elusive for the next few months, we'll probably do it again because it was good fun.
Yeah. And,
it was just great to play again as a group.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, obviously it's nice to get with your friends, your mates, your bandmates and stuff, and having that good sort of, musical relationship as well, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think, friendship and the sort of camaraderie is really important to me, and it's important that you keep that going.
Yeah.
It would be very easy to not sort of, I mean, dare I sort of say it, sort of maintain friendships and relationships because there isn't the need to, or the opportunity to rehearse. So we still, even sort of during the sort of socially distanced parts of the year, we've kind of got together on the rec or on the field or whatever with a beer and just sort of chewed the cud for a while and then gone home, and that's sort of the best it's been.
Oh dear, I've got
hopefully
a couple of...
next year won't be like that.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep the person's name out of it, but they're saying to me now, are you pleased you're a 5-piece and not a 7-piece?
Sorry, beg your pardon?
Somebody's just come on to and just posted me a little quick question. They said, can you ask Billy, is he pleased that he's a 5-piece outfit and not a 7-piece, because the rule of 6 would have then came in? I've got to laugh at that because that is actually quite humorous, but you are a 5-piece at the moment, aren't you?
Most certainly, and that probably does rule out the brass for now.
And there's 2 ways of looking at that, ladies and gentlemen. If you were listening earlier, we were talking about brass instruments, okay? That's all we're going to say there. Oh, my goodness me. So, obviously, when you had the fire pit place and everything, you went live on that. I must have missed that. I really did miss that one. And how did it go for you on Facebook?
It was really good. We had a good number, and we hadn't rehearsed since February, and we didn't really have time to rehearse.
No, indeed, and that must be a bummer as well. Trying to always get together and sort of like try and find somewhere to rehearse. I mean, a lot of people are saying they've done it on sort of like video conferencing and Skype and Facebook messaging and stuff like that. I mean, it must be really difficult to do it like that.
I mean, I'm sure there are. Well, I know there are some people who are very good at that and are really sort of clued up.
Yeah.
It's not really us. We're just not that clever, Sean.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you could press a few buttons and whoop, there you go. It's not difficult, but, you know, if you've never done it before, it becomes a minefield, you know. And obviously, for myself, I mean, obviously, you know, I hit buttons and hope and pray, as I say, right before any interview I do, that hopefully, that, you know, there's a voice at the other end, and hopefully it's the voice that I've been advertising for the last week or so, you know. But, you know, generally, touch wood. There we go. Oh, I'm echoing now. Touch wood that everything goes according to plan. I've got no idea how it works. I'm just pleased it works.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You don't have to know how it works as long as it does.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to keep his name out. Oh, I'm going to keep their name out of it. I just gave the sex away now. Goodness me.
Well, it makes me wonder how mad this is.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because they can't obviously all meet up, can they? Unless they obviously form a bubble. Apparently you can do that. You can form a bubble if it's to do with your work or something like that. But I don't know. I'm really confused when they start talking about bubbles. I just thought someone was having a laugh a year ago when someone mentioned bubbles. I thought someone was having a giggle. But there you go. I mean, who heard of social distancing up until the point of the beginning of this year? I've never even heard of social distancing. We're told to sort of not distance ourselves and be sociable. Now we've got to be antisociable to live. It's really a minefield out there, and I just don't know. What the next sort of, you know, policy is going to be. Apparently they're coming back into the tier system again. I know you can get that wrong. I mean, it's only 3 tiers, and I always say, oh, what tier are we in? I've no idea, you know. And what can we do in that tier? Are we allowed to go out? Are we allowed to stay in? Do we socially distance ourselves? Well, apparently you've got to social distance yourself at every tier. You can't handshake anybody. You can't even do elbow pumps anymore. You've got to stay sort of 2 metres apart from everyone. It's great when you're working with someone all the time, you know, and then apparently you're allowed to work with someone if you're a part of a bubble, but you still can't touch them. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
the thing for me is that, you know, I actually work in construction, Sean.
Oh, right, yeah, I did read that, actually, yeah.
We didn't close down. We were told that we all had to carry on back in April, so that's what happened. And now, I mean, during the first lockdown, we did... The only way that we could do social distancing was to basically have some people in one day and other people in a different day and sort of sanitise in between.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Slightly more relaxed now, and we are a small team, so I suppose effectively we become a bubble. But
too many bubbles going around.
It's impossible to stay 2 meters apart. You can't do it.
Oh, you can't. It really is. You know, I'll be honest with you, this lockdown this time round, and I work in distribution, you know, for a normal job, if there's such a thing. And I was actually, you know, when they said, oh, it's going to be a lockdown, I thought, great, 4 weeks off. I need 4 weeks off. I need to finish off doing what I was doing at home. I've got some rooms still need to be decorated, you know, the boring sort of, you know, fatherly duties that one has to do as well. No, everyone's working, you know, and everyone's out, everyone's shopping, everyone's doing this, everyone's in B&Q and other DIY shops as well, and it's a minefield out there. So we're not really in a lockdown, we're just sort of in a semi-lockdown, I think the word is. And you know,
it's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, or tier 4. There you go. There we go. I thought I'd get that one in. So obviously Boris is going to mention about Christmas tomorrow and what we can and what we can't do. He's probably going to take turkey off the menu. That's what he's going to do. He's got turkey this and turkey that. I heard and I saw a news report just a few weeks ago that they were actually taking turkeys off their full fat feed and actually dieting them because you couldn't have so many round for dinner this year. Now that's actually a true story. Yeah. I saw it come up on one of the headlines that turkeys were being fed less and being fed such a diet that wouldn't fatten them up so much. And I had to laugh and I thought, has the world gone completely and utterly crazy? But obviously, you know, listening to the news a bit more, I thought to myself, hang on a minute, they're onto something here. They're going to still charge the same price for an ultra slim turkey. Come on,
yeah, well,
what's that all about?
I know. I mean, it is. I mean, it's been a mad year, and the whole turkey undersized thing is sort of like it's the sort of pinnacle of the madness. Really,
It certainly is the icing on top of the cake as well, my friend. I'll be honest with you. I had to laugh because I know what's going to happen. Yeah, and I just thought, right, okay, yeah, we can't have, I think you can have up to 6 people in your family or bubble or, a support bubble or something like that round for dinner. I think that's what he's going to do for tomorrow. But if you had your way of running the country, what would you do? Because I'm going to give you the keys to number 10 now. There's no point in giving in to Boris at the moment. I don't know if he's self-isolating or not, but hey-ho, we've just booted him out, okay? So you're running the country at the moment. What are you going to do for Christmas for us all?
Well, if I was running the country, first of all, I'd get the Orbiteers in the number 10, and we do a jolly big gig.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. What's that, at 5 o'clock in the evening, around your sort of like lectrons?
Any time, really, Sean.
That sounds good to me.
Whatever time the boys are up and out of bed, that would be the first thing.
Yeah.
As far as the whole COVID thing goes, I mean, I guess we're all pinning our hopes really seriously, aren't we, on these vaccines?
Yes, indeed.
Vaccines are going to be. I find it a little irritating when they keep talking about, they've used this phrase game changer so many times over the past 7 months.
Yeah.
But really, the game changer is going to be a vaccine, I'm sure, because ultimately, what else is going to sort of kick the virus into touch?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, obviously, I hear so many things about this COVID that I don't know now what to believe or where my sort of like loyalties are, where my vision is really. It's just a minefield out there. There's so many things you hear about. There's so many different so-called vaccines that are going to save 90% of all the human race, as long as you're over the age of 65 and still have all your own body parts. I think that's how it's going at the moment. I don't know. And then you've got another team coming in and saying, well, we can actually get 94% as long as you're over the age of 92 or so. I don't know how it all works. And to be honest with you, I don't really want to know how it all works either, because I'm absolutely petrified of a needle going into my arm or indeed into my backside. I don't know where they're going to place it, But, obviously, if one has to have it, one does have it, It's obviously trying to protect yourself from COVID. But if it was me, I would completely lock down the country for 4 weeks, just shut everything down and get food parcels sent to every single person, okay? Let Sainsbury's, Tesco's, all the other great supermarkets that we got out there put their hands in their pockets and feed the nation for, 3 or 4 weeks, whatever the case may be, on them, okay, paid by the government or whatever the case may be, and let everyone stay at home, make sure the virus is well and truly stamped out, and then everyone can go back out and play. It's, that's simple. I know the economy, I know about money coming into the country, but hey-ho, if we've all suffered or, we all pop our clogs due to COVID, there ain't going to be no country. There's going to be no money coming into the country because there'll be no one there running the country. And I said as a joke a couple of weeks ago, the last person in England, please switch the lights off, just to try and save some pennies. Sometimes you feel that way because you think, will it ever end? But, obviously my condolences out there for anyone that has had COVID or going through COVID, and most importantly, for friends and family that have relatives that have died from COVID. It's a nasty, nasty thing that we can't see, and ultimately we don't know enough about at the moment. It's horrible, I'm just trying to be serious there just for a second. Right, okay, out of the serious note now, I'm getting out of the seriousness. So way forward then, obviously, hopefully next year, everyone's pinning their hopes on 2021. Have you got anything sort of lined up on the back burner, or indeed you're going to go full steam ahead in 2021 when things are starting to return back to some sort of normality?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as far as with the band in mind, we've got a record to make, which the songs are there.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm really hoping that we can get onto. I probably realistically in the latter part of next year.
Yeah.
Plus gigs, and then I've got my own thing to do with Smiley. That record is probably about 70% of the way there.
Oh, fantastic!
So that will get finished. That will get finished in the spring, or by the spring.
Yes.
I would hope.
Yes.
So, and then of course sort of the local stuff. I I mentioned the Fiery Bird a few moments ago.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the Fiery Bird opening up because there's such a great group of volunteers there, and it's it's a fledgling venue, but Woking has never really had an independent venue in the same way that Guildford has, and certainly London has. So I'm very much looking forward to sort of playing there again and the open mics and seeing the guys there, because it's a real champion of local music.
I never realised I've never realised how many really good musicians have hailed from Woking. I'm not just talking about the Magnificent Three that have come out from the late 70s, but since then, you had so many great bands and artists that have come through the doors, as such. And like you say, they've never really had a real decent place to hone their craft and get their sort of their good name out there, their music out there. So no, hats off to Elaine for obviously opening up the doors there, and hopefully once this virus sort of kicks the dust, that she can reopen her doors and bands like your good self and other artists out there can get out there and show people what you do, So yeah, hats off to that. I'm totally in awe of anyone that can host live music again, because I tell you what, as I said to Mark Revell from The Trend, I said, what are you going to do when all this lockdown's finished? He goes, I'm having a bloody good night out. And I think everyone's in that mindset. They just can't wait to go and sing a couple of beers down, and they can listen to some fine, good music. Do you know somebody? I'm going to hazard a guess here. Maybe a relation called Andrew Huggett?
Andrew Huggett is my youngest brother.
Oh, there you go. He's tuned into us, and he's just joined our little group here, our Target Radio live page for presenters and listeners. So a lovely hello to Andrew there.
Hi, Andy.
There he is. And is Andy, is he the action man?
Actually, no, he's not. He was. It was the middle brother that got the action.
Oh, right, okay.
Andy's another real music guy, and he really loves his music.
Excellent.
And he's got a lovely, beautiful 7-month-old baby daughter who was born right at the onset of lockdown.
Oh.
Called Evelyn, and so a big hi to Andy and Evelyn. I expect Evelyn's tuning in. I should think she's probably stayed up and given them a bit of a hard time in that cot just so that she can tune into Sean Cook on Target Radio.
Oh, thank you very much indeed. You know how to say all the right things there. Anyway, good evening to brand new. Is it a brand new? Is it his first? Is it?
It's his first. Yeah.
Oh, hang on a minute. The social distancing guys have come back in. Hang on. Oh, no, you best it up now. There it is. Especially going out there for a brand new father of 7 months, did you say?
Yeah, she was born at the end of March.
Oh, there we go. Andrew Huggett, well done, sir. There we go. And obviously for the good lady wife as well. Yeah, she done some of the work, I think.
She was involved.
She was there. She was there anyway,
Definitely. Sure she was.
Oh, fantastic. So something good happened just before lockdown, and hopefully, with Christmas just around the corner and obviously these vaccines and stuff like that, hopefully 2021 will start to look a little brighter. Now, I went on record and, silly me, why do I, my big mouth, I went at the end of 2019, I said, do you know, this is live on the radio, I went, I'm really looking forward to 2020 because it's got to be a really good year because they've named it twice. How wrong was I? So I'm not looking forward to 2021. I am really. Just to let everyone know, on record, it's going to be a rubbish year. Because I always get it wrong, you see. So obviously, concentrating on your music, getting the record out, and obviously doing some wonders around at Sunshine Corner, which is Steve Smiley Barnard's recording studio. But if you were to go out between now and obviously the end of the year, and you were allowed to go out, and you want to just see any bands that are around at the moment, or indeed bands that have disbanded that you've never got a chance to see, who would it have been?
Oh, if
you're allowed to have two.
Current touring bands. I am a creature of habit, Sean. If there was a band I desperately want to see right now, it would be The Alarm.
Okay.
No question about it, because it's been 11 months since I last saw The Alarm, and that's a long time in my book, Sean.
That's far too long. Yeah, it's far too long.
if there was a band that are no longer, I mean, if I had to list the top 5 bands that I wish that I had been able to see, but I was generally too young, I would love to have seen the Police. Well, actually, I did see the Police. I saw them in 2007, but I'd love to have seen the Police in their day. I'd love to have seen the Clash. I'd love to have seen Bob Marley. I would love to have seen ABBA.
Now that is a shock. Why? Why ABBA?
Well, I mean, for me, Benny and Bjorn are incredible songwriters. Really, really good songwriters.
Yes.
I mean, clear. Obviously, for pardon me, old rockers like ourselves, they don't necessarily sort of fall into any sort of favourable genre. But I mean, I was watching. I think it was a little documentary just recently, and it majored on Benny and Sean's songwriting, and I have to, I look at them and I think these guys knew how to write a song, and the girls knew how to sing a song.
Absolutely true. Yeah, I mean, every single song they've done, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a huge ABBA fan by any means. Obviously, as a mobile DJ, I tend not to play it unless I'm actually, begged and asked and money's thrown my way for Dancing Queen, which generally does get played at most of the gigs that I do, weddings and anniversaries, etc. I've come to sort of loathe it, and it's not obviously anything to do with ABBA. It's got to do with the repetitiveness of the same song every single week, But no, I have to agree with you. ABBA were in their day pretty much. I don't know. I'm not going to compare them to someone like the Beatles or anything, but very popular, very, very popular on the dance floors.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I mean, I can't dance for toffee, absolute rubbish.
No, I'm like you, 2 left feet.
Try.
That's it.
I mean, the interest there for me is, as I say, what we were talking right at the beginning about the ability to sort of tell a story in a song, and actually, Benny and Bjorn could do that. You look at some of the sort of mid to sort of late period stuff, the real kind of tad stuff. Yeah. And actually they could. They could tell a story in a song, tell it, incredibly well. And
wow.
So yeah, I would, hands up, if I could see a band that no longer around, probably that would be in the top 5.
Brilliant, lovely. I'm just having a look at your followers on the Billy Liberator music page on Facebook. You were on 206. It's actually gone down. No, I'm only joking. It hasn't really. And I'm actually going to I've just posted a link up, obviously, of your page onto my page, so people can have a look at that as well.
Well, that's my mum on multiple devices.
Shh, don't tell anyone. My mum does exactly the same thing for Target Radio. She's called so many different things these days, I've forgotten what her real name is. It's brilliant. Okie dokie. So obviously, if ABBA was still around, they are in our hearts, obviously. You're going out and seeing them. Brilliant stuff. You wait until the podcast. You just wait. Okay, the intro will be meet Billy Paul, who absolutely loves ABBA. I wonder if we get any tuned in on the podcast, because I do turn all of my interviews, as you probably well know by now, into a podcast a few weeks down the line, and obviously gives people another chance to listen to the interview. This show will be, it's obviously being recorded as we speak, and obviously this will be then turned into a Mixcloud Listen Again feature, hopefully by next Friday evening. So people have missed this, obviously gets there, obviously to listen to this, and obviously anyone that wants to have another listen to this, really informative. I'll be honest with you, really informative chat with yourself. I found out so much about you actually, that you like ABBA. You like ABBA. That's for me. That's done. And if you were going to run the country, then obviously the first thing you're going to do is put on a live show, which is that's brilliant. I mean, you can't disagree with that at all, because we're all aching for a live bit of music, which is absolutely brilliant, And we found out that your brother's, a dad with a 7-month-old. Oh, it's fantastic news. And you could have also been playing with Action Men. so much for us to chew over there. And obviously I've took all of that out of complete context as well. Now, if anyone wants to get hold of you, what's the best way of doing it?
Facebook Messenger. That would be the best way.
Okay.
Quite often people message that way, so that works for me.
Brilliant. That sounds good to me. And obviously, if people want to get hold of your music once it's finished, Steve, come on, get your finger out, mate. Once your songs, and are you going to put it onto an EP, or are you going to go straight for an album?
So the EP that finished in the summer, now that's out now. That's on all the digital platforms. So these Spotify's, Amazon's, Google's, SoundClouds, etc.
Sounds good.
Now that the LP or the long record, which I'm hoping will be out by the spring, that will go onto disc as well, on CD. So there'll be a physical copy of that, and I'm sure the Orbiteers are going to do the same when we do our stuff sort of later on in 2021. So there will be some physical product. I mean, I'd absolutely love to have it on vinyl, but the production costs.
I heard it's absolutely for an unsigned band with no sort of, shall we say, pennies in the pot, can be really out of reach to put things onto a vinyl piece of record these days. It is hard, but I like yourself, I'd love to have something with grooves on it, and you turn it over, ladies and gentlemen, you've got more grooves on the other side with lots of good music as well. It's really, really, I don't know. I mean, yes, I like MP3s and downloads and things like that, because obviously it just keeps it all in one place. It's all nice and tidy. It doesn't take up too much room. But hey, I like to take up lots of room with lots of vinyl as well. So I'm in that sort of double-edged sword, really. I love the vinyl. I love the feel of it. I love the sound of it. I love the smell of it as well. I like to eat my dinner off one. But, generally speaking, music is music. Sometimes you want to feel the music as well, not just in your sort of in your tummy, but you want to feel it in your heart. You want to feel it on your fingers, So yeah, I'm totally in your court there, when it comes to vinyl. But you'll never know what happens in the future. You'll never know. You may even be able to get some press recordings, not saying cheaply, but you may get some discount or some good deals. You never know.
You never know. You
don't,
know.
Absolutely not. So do you want to give a shout out?
Limited edition vinyl.
Why not? You might as well, push the barrel out. So do you want to give a little nod to all of your colleagues in the band again, please?
Yeah, so if you're out there, boys, evening Andy, evening Jakey, evening the Reverend Alzar from Australia, evening Mitch, hope you boys are well. Evening Smiley, if you're listening in, hope you're all well. Well, I know you're well now, because it's been you're well past the 14 days. See you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, indeed.
And all the best to you.
Oh, that is brilliant stuff. And just a note of how we get hold of you again on Facebook, is it?
Billy Liberator Music, yeah, and I think I will. I mean, I haven't done it thus far because I'm sort of a bit of not a technophobe, but I think I'm going to have to embrace the whole Twitter thing, Instagram, and Billy Liberator at some point, probably.
Yeah.
As everybody else seems to. So.
Well, I'm on Instagram, which is absolutely rubbish for radio because obviously it's more of a picture. It's more picture based than it is for music based. But then obviously for yourself, you can take pictures of the band, playing, all together, or individually. You can put pictures of yourselves up there. For radio, it's not as good. I mean, there's only so many times you can put a picture of a target up there, before people get, I've seen that one, bored of that. It's very difficult. So obviously words, we're okay on Facebook and Twitter. When it comes to Instagram, they want to see pictures, and pictures obviously, as you know, tell 1,000 words, or it tells a story at least anyway. And going right back to square one, or at the beginning of our interview, when we found out that you do love to write a story within the lyrics of your songs, which is absolutely fantastic, and my hat's off to you there, Billy, because I'll be honest with you, it is totally a minefield for me to write anything down that actually firstly makes any sense at all, and then to put music behind it or in front of it or on top of it, it's a skill within a skill, and that's absolutely applaudable. In fact, I've just mentioned that word again. They're in the background, honestly. They're nowhere near me. Oi, get back. But no, it is absolutely fantastic to have you on this evening. Now, is there anything I've missed out? Oh, yes, there is. Apparently you've mentioned Shane Ritchie. Now, what's that all about, quickly?
That was on the Facebook post, wasn't it?
Yes.
Shane Ritchie. I don't know Shane Ritchie. I've met Shane Ritchie. I think possibly on the Facebook post, I was alluding to the fact that for 3 weeks every year, the whole kind of jungle thing I'm a Celebrity sort of takes over.
Yes.
So it's probably an encouragement for anyone that needed a night off. Welsh Castle thing, which includes Shane Ritchie.
Sean Ritchie, I've just gone up a step there.
But after I posted that, I got a message from, and I must mention him actually because he's a very dear friend and he's a great encouragement. My mate Pete Cole, who is a local guy originally from the sort of Farnborough area, who's again another real champion of local bands and local music. Who will be putting out, I can't remember how many volumes it is, but something like volume 13, 14 of the Farnborough Groove next year.
Okay, yeah.
I'll be on it, along with a load of other local bands.
Yep.
Well, Pete is a dreadful name dropper. I don't mind me saying that. And Shane Ritchie is one of them. And apparently he's a lovely fella, and, well, that's pretty much all I've got to say about Shane Ritchie, really.
And guess who's just joined Target Radio live page for all presenters and listeners literally 4 minutes ago? His name is Pete Cole.
Pete.
He's just joined us here this evening. Hello, Pete, if you're listening, you name-dropper person, you. I've actually had the privilege of speaking with Shane Ritchie when he introduced From the Jam back when he'd done Veterans Day or something like that, or something over in Guildford. And also, when I was on a different radio station, he tweeted in, can you play A Town Called Malice? I remember that, and that was Shane Ritchie. And I asked him about his, I think it was a burger van he had in EastEnders at the time. And I said, apparently you lost your burger van. Well, we've got it in our car park here at the school where I used to have the radio station. He killed himself laughing, but he's a really down-to-earth fella. And just to let you know, you're not missing out on Celebrity Jungle, because obviously a Celebrity Castle, whatever you want to call it at the moment, because that's on straight after me at 9 o'clock.
Oh, is it? Okay, well, it shows how much I watch it, doesn't it? 'Cause I don't even know what time
absolutely. And the funny thing about it is, as well, I've just done my the little Chris Tarrant thing there. Hello. He's actually on at the moment. They're rerunning the first £1 million person that won it at the moment. So it's only a repeat, ladies and gentlemen. We've got live stuff here, but no more, because our very, very friendly and absolutely brilliant guest this evening has got to go, because I've got to go in a few minutes, and I've got to wrap up this auction as well for this brilliant About the Young Idea poster. So for now, Paul, Billy, whatever we call you, it's been a pleasure. It's been brilliant. Thank you very much indeed for popping on this evening. And you know, you've been speaking now for an hour and a quarter. Yeah, about an hour and a quarter now. Wow.
Thank you for having me.
No, you've been
good fun.
Oh, I likewise with yourself, my friend. You've been brilliant. Paul, Billy, you have been a star this evening, and I applaud you. In fact, I'm going to get this lot to applaud you as well. Hang on, wait a minute.
Oh, there you go.
I know, I'm wearing it out. But you do deserve that. That is brilliant. I'll have to get another CD, actually, because it's running out now. You've been brilliant this evening. Thanks, Paul. You've been great. Have a great Christmas, buddy. Whatever happens next year, hopefully we'll come and get down to see you, and obviously all the guys there in the group, and we'll see you play live as well, which we're looking forward to. All the bands and all the artists are out there at the moment are not getting live music into them. Hopefully next year, get the vaccine up your jacksie, and away you go. Whoi! There we go. Thanks, Paul. Brilliant. Speak to you soon, my friend. Take care.
Cheers, Sean. All the best.
And yourself. Thank you very much indeed. There he is. Okay, that was Paul / Billy Liberator. What a great guest. And I'd just like to say a few thank yous now to Kendo Cray for winning the beautiful poster of the Jam and About the Young Idea. Well done, my friend. £200. It's well worth it, I say. Also, I'd like to say thank you very much to my special guest this evening, Mr. Billy Liberator, who likes ABBA. You just joined me, you've got no idea. Now, guest next week, we've got none other than Dave Riley from a brand new band called Focal Sun. I'm looking forward to our chat with him. And I'd just like to say thank you for everyone that joined us this evening here on Target Radio. We've got the guest list that's following us very shortly. Are you on the guest list? You're not? Well, stick around. They may put your name at the bottom.
Oh, cookie, cookie. cookie.
Yeah?
Me really love that cookie.
Thank you.
So after that one cookie, me make 2, then 3, then 4.
4?
Cookie.
Yes?
Me no longer just a rookie. Cause once me ate one cookie.
And that's all we got time for this evening. Thanks for your company this evening.
Goodbye.
Okay.
It's time to...
Yes, we got the point.
So long, farewell.
Yes, I know. We're going.
Good night.
Okay, goodbye. See ya. Take care of yourselves. And stay safe. Keep sanitising, washing your hands, and stick your face mask on as well while you're there.
When do I get my badge?
Very soon.
Goes the beat.
Ta-da, everyone. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here at Target Radio. And we'll see you all again next week from 7 o'clock. And we're back, yes. And what did you think of that for an interview? Wasn't it great? We found out so much. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for joining us for the Target Radio podcast. I am your pod father. That is me, Cookie. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes if you can, please. If you think we deserve it, 5 stars, please. It does help with the future of Target Radio. Check out all of our great shows here on Target Radio. And as I say, please support local artists and the unsigned band. Until next time, thank you very much indeed. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.